Big Lob scores! And the crowd goes bananas!
Hello and welcome back to the 80s Toy Museum, and today we're taking a look at a huge piece of 80s unfinished business. Big Lob makes his move. So the price of these is absolutely bonkers. I paid 25 bucks for this. And they do come in like a 4-pack with a couple other Super7 O-ring figures for $100, but luckily place I bought it from, Big Bad Toy Store, splits them up and lets you buy them individually. And the reason I wanted to get it is because of this gap right here, right beside Tunnel Rat. It looks like there isn't a gap because Hardball is there, but these are the 1987 rawhides that appeared in the 1987 G.I. Joe movie. There's Slaughter's Renegades. Prime is in the way. But I always, just like most G.I. Joe fans back in the day, always wanted a Big Lob figure, and for some reason they didn't make Big Lob. Also, for some strange reason, some of the other 87 figures didn't show up in the movie. Fast Draw wasn't there, Sneak Peek, Psych Out, Outback. None of these guys. Gung Ho didn't appear in that outfit, but the rawhides, always conspicuous by his absence, was Big Lob. And what I had done for a while was used this guy right here, which was a club exclusive Big Lob figure some years back, as a placeholder, but it was one of the modern Joes, not an O-ring. It was the right height, but just doesn't really go with O-rings. And I decided if they ever made an O-ring Big Lob, that would be one of the few that I wouldn't really look at the price. It's just a big piece of unfinished business. There was an O-ring Big Lob club exclusive before this guy, and I had it, and it was really bad. I had it up there with all the other vintage figures, and I just did not like how it looked because it was the same height as everybody, and it just looked really lazy. It was reused parts from older Joes. It had like a Mercer head that just didn't look very Big Lob-ish. And I ended up selling that thing way before the price on it exploded, so congrats to whoever nabbed it for next to nothing on eBay when I sold it. But yeah, I've been using this modern one, but now thanks to Super7 and their O-ring line. They had been doing 5 points of articulation figures, but now Super7 is doing O-ring style. And there's a couple of really cool figures. I think they're sticking mainly to cartoon characters. And so a lot of them are cool, but I just can't justify like 25 US, that's not even Canadian, it's US, for like Arctic Gear Joes, or that Cobra Commander Snake looks really cool, but you know, I've got quite a few Cobra Commanders, so I don't need to drop that much on another version of Cobra Commander. But no Big Lobs, no O-ring Big Lobs, so this is definitely an exception to the rule. Gotta be honest, it's gonna break my heart a little bit to open this guy because it is a really, really nice card. And Super7, you know, despite how astronomical the prices are on these, they do feel like the vintage cards. These club exclusive cards are so flimsy, you can see it's warping. A lot of the store modern figures, same type of flimsy card. So I like that they're using these really sturdy cards if you want to keep it mint on card. It's just the price is crazy. They used to be $2 to $3 US in 1987. I looked it up. 1987, $2 to $3, which converts with inflation to like about $5 to $8 today. So everything's expensive today. If you're one to complain about the price of toys, go to the supermarket and look at how much strawberries cost and how much hamburgers cost, and that'll give you something to complain about. But yeah, this is an exception buy for me. I know there's going to be people who are going to complain that the price is too much, and it absolutely is, but he's special, and sometimes special things come along with a higher price tag. Big Lob, G.I. Joe Reservist, His real name is Bradley Sanders. This is so awesome. Another cool part of this whole thing. Even though I'm going to open this figure up, just like the old days, I'm gonna keep the file card. This is very, very interesting. He's from Chicago. Rank is E4. He's a specialist. And there's a bio there if you want to pause and give it a read. And then a quote, just like the old file cards had. When Big Lob makes his move, he always shoots to score the big win. That's so cool. A little throwback to one of his big lines in the movie. And really cool card art too. It looks just like Big Lob. Part of the art is cut off, unfortunately. He's probably holding his weapon. There he's holding a grenade, just like in the movie when he throws the grenade in the gun turret or whatever it was. And just to give you a comparison of the two card arts, the club exclusive and the new Super 7, I would say the Super 7 card art is better. Looks more like Big Lob did in the movie. Not that there's much detail allowed in 1987 animated thing, but definitely looks more like Big Lob on the left. And let's take a look at Big Lob, my first Super 7 O-ring figure. A couple of friends have picked up some of these and I've asked them, how's the quality on it? Is it gummy? Because I just don't like the new or the more recent Hasbro O-rings. It's cool that they're doing them. I love O-rings, but the plastic they use on them is so gummy. So I'm hoping this is a little more like the vintage G.I. Joe, sturdier plastic. These days, plastic is just so brittle. Everything is so brittle and fragile that this guy is really wedged in here. So you're going to want to take extra care and caution and time whenever you're unpackaging anything these days, because stuff is just not as tough, as husky as it used to be when we grew up. He comes with a standard G.I. Joe, it's the Snow Job laser rifle. It's not the exact mold though. It's a little bit different, but I mean, it's instantly recognizable. I think it's actually more accurate to how it looked on the show. It's cool that they have this little shell there to hold him in and keep him from getting damaged. And the figure itself. To people who didn't grow up on Real American Hero or see the G.I. Joe movie when they were young, they won't get it. But this is awesome. This is awesome. It might not look like much to look at compared to modern toys, but yeah, this is pure nostalgia. This is what this guy is. 100% nostalgia. So glad they picked him for one of their early O-ring releases and didn't drag it out. Oh, this feels really nice to finally have a proper 1987 style, vintage style O-ring Big Lob. This is way better than that club exclusive O-ring figure. Not all that complicated, but really didn't need to be. He's got a removable bandolier, very similar to the bandolier on the modern 25th anniversary Duke figure. It's nice that it's removable. He's got all of the articulation that those old Joes had. He's got, I like that, the very, very slight up and down neck ball joint, just like the original. Maybe a little bit more than the old ball joint G.I. Joe's had, but it's very, very close. Yeah, it looks exactly the same construction. Plastic quality is great. It is fantastic. Yeah, I agree with everyone who's saying that the plastic is better. It feels like the harder vintage G.I. Joe plastic, giving it a little bit of pressure there. It's not bending at all. Yeah, so if you're a plastic connoisseur, yeah, that's way better. Nothing is made as good as it used to be for stuff like this. So if you want something to not be gummy and bendy, if you want it to feel like it used to, it's going to cost you. Just like if you want a vintage muscle car, it's going to cost you. And let's see what these thumbs are like. That was always an issue with the old figures. That's one of the improvements they've actually made on some of the newer figures. We got a little bit of bend there. So it is just a little bit more rubbery than some of those old Joes, like the really hard, rigid plastic, like on Recondo, Rock and Roll. So there's a little bit of bend in there. It's too bad he didn't come with like an actual grenade. Not sure how he would hold it. I guess he does have one there attached to the belt. Wish he had come with a basketball, even though I don't think he used one in the movie. But that would have been a cool accessory, an actual basketball for this guy. But they wanted to stay authentic, so 2 accessories with him. And he stands as poorly as the vintage O-ring Joes, so just a standard stand fits him perfectly. Doesn't look like he's got a heel that's going to break on it. And let's do a quick little 360. Not much detail to see, like I said before, but so cool to see him finally exist. It's awesome. A little comparison to the modern Big Lob. So they're both on stands, but I think the modern one stand is a little bit higher. So let's level them up a little bit. And yeah, the more modern club exclusive Big Lob is a little bit taller. What I'm hoping for is that Big Lob is this O-ring Big Lob is a little bit taller than the other Joes, because he's going to be right beside Tunnel Rat, his old buddy from the movie. And he is quite a bit. Wow, he's quite a bit taller than Tunnel Rat. That's fantastic. I'd say that's perfect. He towers over Tunnel Rat and will over all the other ones too. I'll bring him out and do a long-awaited group pick of all the rawhides from the movie. But that is fantastic. You can actually have him in the back looking over someone's shoulder. And here they are all lined up, and that is fantastic. And you can have Beachhead chewing them out. Oh, that's fantastic. Just sticking them there in front of the other rawhides. This one figure alone brings all the other ones up for me. So before Big Lob, it was just these guys, and it was just the 87 Joes, but having him in there really makes it feel like the team from the movie. That is fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it. Pure nostalgia. If anyone tries to bring you down, steal your joy from this little piece of nostalgia, just ask them what brings them joy, what nostalgic thing brings them joy. I guarantee you the answer will be just a blank look. It'll be silence. So, yeah, if you're like me, and, I wasn't the biggest fan of the G.I. Joe movie, but I like parts of it, and certainly the rawhides were one of the highlights of the movie. And Big Lob was another highlight of the movie. This is one figure that really elevates everything around it. I love the height on him too. That's fantastic. Only Law is kind of close to him in height, but that's because of his big chunky helmet. And the paint and plastic quality is close enough to the vintage ones that he doesn't really stand out. His face isn't quite as shiny as on the other figures. And now I'm gonna plop him and all these other guys back up on the stadium shelf up there, and finally enjoy that piece of unfinished business, the 1987 G.I. Joe, the movie Rawhides. And here he is on the shelf with the other Rawhides, front row of the 87 to 94 shelf. Looks awesome. Finally, when you're far back enough, you can't really tell what's a modern and what's an O-ring, but it's really awesome now when I can take a close look and see that they're all uniform, O-ring figures, and does not bother me in the least that this is a 2025 figure. Absolutely looks like a 1987 figure. I'm glad that they didn't go overboard on the sculpt or the paint or anything like that. They really kept the vintage style design. That's a big win from Super7 for me. Yeah, like I said before, really overpriced. Not everything they do is gold. I was really excited about finally having a Mandora figure too from Thundercats, and that was a turd, that figure right there. And it was so unfortunate because great character, but unfortunately the first rendition of Mandora had a lot of problems with it. So I'm just glad that that this Big Lob doesn't have any problems whatsoever. I didn't really futz around too much with all of his posing and stuff, but no need. Just needs to stand there and look tall. And one more thing I wanted to mention before I close off this review is the whole reason of why Big Lob was in the movie in the first place. And my theory, I don't think I've ever heard anyone else share this theory, but my theory was that the mail-away figure for 1987 was this guy, William the Refrigerator Perry. And I've always suspected he was supposed to be in the movie in Big Lob's place. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it ended up he wasn't in the movie. I don't know, like maybe he couldn't voice his character in the movie, or they just decided they didn't want another real-life Joe since they already had Sergeant Slaughter in there. But for whatever reason, it feels to me like it was supposed to be the fridge, it couldn't be the fridge, and then it would have been way too obvious if they just concocted another African-American football player, like a fictional football player. So instead they just made him a basketball player, but basically kind of like the fridge, but a little different. That's my theory. But if you have your own theory as to why Big Lob was in the movie and never had a toy, it makes no sense to me, because those old shows and the movies are always called toy commercials. Right? Oh, that, people just dismiss the great Sunbow shows as that was just a toy commercial. Well, why would this animation studio put a character in that had no toy? That makes absolutely no sense. As far as I know, there was never any prototypes of a Big Lob toy. It doesn't look like they ever were going to make a Big Lob. It's so weird that they never even made a Big Lob later on, like in the later lines, like a DEF Big Lob or Star Brigade. Can you imagine Big Lob in space? Star Brigade Big Lob. So it's just very strange to me that this character was in the movie, had such a prominent role, like a fairly featured role, and never got a single toy in the old line. That's what makes this one so special. We finally got the O-ring Big Lob. So yeah, if you think they're crazy overpriced and don't want to buy any of them, maybe you're like me, and Super7's O-ring Big Lob will be the exception, because it is a really nice piece of unfinished business. Thanks everyone for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed this. Feels like very in-depth, thorough, long review on a very, very simple figure, but this one is more about what it means. It's more about the nostalgia of the character and the figure today than the actual mechanics and the economics of the figure. It's a very, very special figure. I'm very, very happy that they finally made him. And I hope any longtime Joe fans are able to add that to their collection too, if they have some of the old O-ring figures as well. Shout out to the Patreon tribe. Thank you all for joining the Patreon tribe and supporting the channel on there as well. And appreciation also to everyone who's hit the join button and become a channel member to support the channel as well. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Good night, good luck, God bless, and nerd stay.